when you look at Raila as a politician, he's a man who knows how to work best when things are at their worst. You know, Raila went to Dubai, and he is supposed to be back on Friday. So the Friday of 28th, actually, that is this week. So Azimio One Kenya has really organized a welcoming party at the airport in the first place. And then from the airport, they moved to Kibra for a grand, people's baraza. And remember, at the same time, next week, Azimio said they are resuming their peaceful anti-government demonstration. So you will interpret that as, the rally that they are going to hold in welcoming Raila and the People's Baraza at Kibera will actually set the pace for next week. If you listened to how yesterday's impasse was seen in the bipartisan talk, I read the body language of Azimio. And what I noted is that, Azimio is not going to give government easy time in the talks. And as a matter of fact, they are going to remain adamant. They are going to remain so steadfast. And they are going to give government harder time to come to terms with what they presented in the first place. So the more the government plays hide and seek, or the government does not want to accommodate what Azimio brought on board, the more it will be giving Azimio an avenue to resume demos.
Hit a stalemate, and we've suspended these talks until such time as there might be consensus along the lines reached or the position changes.
When they were speaking, it's like they were telling the government that if you can't agree to what we want, then you do not know that we have option B. So option B is to go for demos. Yet on the side of the government, there is no alternative, or there is no option left. Because the government is to either accept what Azimio brought on board or accept it. Because if they refuse to accept everything Azimio brought on board, then definitely we will still be having an impasse, and it will be detrimental for the government, because Azimio will go back to the streets, and that is exactly what they are planning. So in this case, I want us to look at this communique and how is it going to set the pace for next week. So this is the communique. This is the part which actually I want to major on. So it was released by Opio and I, who is the minority leader, and they were saying, we appeal to all supporters of our quest for a just, fair, and democratic nation that prioritizes its citizens to turn up in large numbers and welcome the Right Honorable Raila Odinga home and attend the Kibra rally. We further appeal to everyone attending the twin events to maintain peace and order as we have done in the past. So the twin event meaning, of course, the first one, which is at the airport, and then the second one, which is at the Kibra, of course, the mega rally, which is on Friday. When you look at this communique, and at the same time, there's also another circular, of course, a notice that Azimio released, informing the police that next week they are proceeding with their peaceful demonstration. This is going to form the basis of our analysis. I just want to take some few minutes and then look at what will come next week. Before I do that, in the event you are coming to the channel for the first time, please ensure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, so that the next time we produce a video like this, you definitely won't miss. Now let me come back to this. I'm not going to take a lot of time. Let me just be very open with you. In the event Azimio resumes demos next week, two things will be seen. Number one, a more intense demo. Number two, people embracing the kind of items that will be presented in the demos in the event that they get time to speak with people. The reason is, everything that Azimio presented to be discussed in the bipartisan talk, and I did a video exactly on that, they have all culminated into what the people want. And as a matter of fact, one mistake which William Ruto did with the team was to kind of publicly, reject some key areas that Azimio wanted to present. And that is why it forced William Ruto to come on board. And if you have been very keen, you are seeing the president now traversing the areas, regions, and whenever he gets an opportunity, he must stop in a given market or along the road to address the people, because he knows he really messed up. Like for instance, when he was telling his team that don't allow anything to deal with the cost of living, touching on the cost of living, to be discussed on the table, I am very cocksure that the government is not going to allow for that mass reception of Raila at the airport. There will be restrictions. So the scenes that will be created in that, in that trip, the caravan and the entourage and every movement, the scenes that will be created will actually form the force that will meet next week's demonstration. Then number two, have you realized that the moment Azimio does not speak as a team, the moment they don't champion for something, the moment they remain calm, that is the moment they position themselves for sabotage, especially by the government. Because if you look at the government keenly, William Ruto is now very hungry for the leaders from Azimio. As a matter of fact, William Ruto is really encroaching into the strongholds of Azimio. And let's just assume that at the end of it, we get a solution where, there will be no more demos, there will be no more stern actions against the government. We are not expecting to see Azimio being very bitter with the government in the event that we get a solution after the talks. That would mean if they agree on a given situation, it will be a deal done. If the government manages to sweet talk them and, gets away with the narrative at the end of the day, they will be silenced. And the moment they are silenced, that will give Ruto more opportunity to even get more leaders from, Azimio. And it will open the door for these leaders of Azimio to willingly, go and work with the government and be, ready to sit down with Ruto anytime, anywhere. And the moment he sees Azimio not resonating on a common ground, that is the time he peeps in, he gets in there and snatches whoever he can snatch and bring them on board. Look at what was now coming, which Azimio actually refuted, that John Lonyangapuo had intention to work with the government, and they did not know. And David P. Kosing is supposed to represent Azimio in the capacity of, Lonyangapuo's party, yet they did not know that there were plans underway for Lonyangapuo and his cause to join the government. So the moment Azimio doesn't come out and champion for something steadily enough, and they remain steadfast, the moment they go silent, the moment they go chini ya maji, that is the moment they position themselves for sabotage. So these demonstrations will be like, revealing who are you in Azimio. Are you still with us? If you can't champion for a cause, then definitely it means that you are not with us. And for you to show the real color that you have, you just have to side with Azimio when they are going for the demos. For instance, recently you saw Hassan Joho coming on board strongly, and one day he made news, he just resurfaced and everything was exploding. And I remember I was telling you in one of the videos that in the event Raila resumes demos, it will be more powerful, unlike the ones we saw before. Because first, there will be third parties in the mix. There will be more forces that shall have joined. Talk of the kind of organizations that they have met, the kind of, entities that they have approached. The civil societies. Talk of, human rights activists. Talk of more politicians being brought on board. So you cannot just take it for granted that they resume demos, they will just go on with the usual, the usual force. It won't be the same. So the preparation is to ensure that as Friday is setting up the pace, the next week will be based on how the pace of Friday shall have been seen. Welcoming Raila, taking on matters that will be priority for next week, and looking at how police will be reacting, the government will be reacting in the event that, you know, people get their way in receiving Raila completely well. So we have to sit back, tighten our seatbelts, and, you know, focus on the bullseye to see what is yet to come next week. I don't know what to think. I don't know what you have from my side. So you can talk. Let's have this conversation. And until we meet in the next analysis, may you have a great time.